now is something that we just started this summer. And it just is a quick card that we'll wear on our name tags underneath that has all of the lockdown procedures and the lost child procedures. And they literally, it kind of goes through it, the lost camper procedures like we would for VBS, but I can kind of decipher that for you. So if there's a lost camper, the code will, or camper, the clubber, I'm in VBS mode. That code will go over the radio as code Adam, and then they will go on to hopefully describe the child, because yes, okay, great, we know someone's missing, but now who is it? So you'd say code Adam, Amber McMahon, she was wearing a pink shirt today, last time we saw her was by the bathrooms. And that's all you'll do, and then everybody will know that's a lockdown. And even if someone's missing for like a half a second, I'd almost rather you call that and be overzealous than to not call it and now someone's in a trunk somewhere. I don't know. I don't know what the word. I always go dark, sorry. So I'm married to a cop. It's just like part of the game. So this is something that we implemented that we felt was necessary. One of the things that we really want to push is that if there is a medical emergency, you are allowed to call 911. Please don't wait for me. If someone is having a seizure, if someone seems like, I mean, we don't really get this at Awana, but if they're overheating and they're going, like they're gonna pass out, feel free. We would rather call 911 off than be too late to the game. So that's why the first thing on here is our church address, because when you call from a cell phone, a lot of people don't know this, but it actually gets to CHP dispatch. It doesn't go to your local PD. Your cell phone does not have an address attached to it. So you need to know your address. So that's the first thing on here, so you can tell them our address and their cross streets and all of that. And then obviously what you need to tell them is what's going on. They'll ask you questions. And then let us know. After you've handled it, then let us know. And we will make sure that the parking lot is cleared, that they are directed to where they need to go, and we will get any medical professionals that we know are on campus to come aid you. So that's kind of what we're going down. So level 1 lockdown would be just alert. So the camp would be alert, but all activity stays the same. And so the kids really wouldn't notice any different. That would be what we would do for a medical vehicle coming on campus. We'd be like, hey guys, we're on a level 1. We have some I was gonna say rigs, fire trucks coming. I'm sorry, I'm so before guys. So we would have some medical professionals coming on campus, and so you guys could continue. Obviously that's not a threat to you, but you do need to be alert so that if they're coming onto the campus and the kids are in the way, you're gonna move them. So that would be what that one would be. So level 2 would be a caution. That would be kind of like if there was a lost camper, you're gonna take roll, you're gonna say accounting for who's everyone is in there, and then we're gonna patrol the campus. If someone is missing, we're obviously gonna be looking for them. We'll check bathrooms and all of that. Level 3 is a full-on emergency. That is a serious lockdown. Go to your classrooms, lock your rooms, cover your windows, barricade your door. That's like the really serious one that the kids all know. And so I'm not that worried that you won't be able to execute it with them because they run them all the time in schools, unfortunately. So I don't feel the need to go into those in great detail, but are there any questions about those? And that's why we have it on your lanyard, because when that happens, your brain sometimes goes blank, and so you might be like, wait, what does that mean again? So now you have a little code that you can check so you're always aware. Amazing. All right, so the check-in procedures are gonna be a little bit different this year. In that Cubbies, TNT, and Sparks are all gonna check in through the Kidman Center all together. We'll have all the iPads out. So I don't foresee it as being a huge issue. We do it every Sunday. And we're gonna open the Kidman Center at 6 o'clock and let them start checking in through their dinner time so that there's not a mad rush. They won't be allowed to drop off. Do not accept any children until 6:30, because what's gonna happen is you're gonna accept one, and then every week you're gonna have them, and then one day you're gonna be late, and I'm gonna be watching all these kids at 6:15. So they cannot drop them off till 6:30 in your hands, but they can start checking in as early as 6 o'clock. We did it through VBS, and it really streamlined the process, so I think it'll be ideal.
Where do they go after they check in?
So they can go back to dinner, they can hang out and run verses with their kids. It's up to them.
They just can't come in.
They can't come in. So we'll have the Kidmanson over, but those two doors will not be open, and we'll have signs that say drop off starts at 6:30. So, and that will give everyone a little bit more time to get here from work or school or wherever you're coming from. So hopefully we'll have enough leaders then to be able to drop off in the classrooms, because that's the dream. The dream is that Cubbies will go to classrooms and they're gonna have less time in there in the beginning that they did on the playground, because that's a little intense. And then all of the Sparks and the TNTs will go to their classrooms, and they will have handbook time right away. So Sparks and TNT will go straight to handbook time. In the beginning of club, for the first couple clubs, I always try to reiterate and go over our top 3 rules, just to kind of put it in their brain, and then I also do it in the spring because they've been on break and you gotta reprogram. If you've ever been in a classroom, you're very familiar. So our 3 rules for the kids are respect yourself and others, keep your hands and feet to yourself, and listen while others are speaking. If the children are not following those 3 rules, please correct them immediately. The more we let that linger, the worse the behavior gets. And then they affect the other, it's like a little virus. It just spreads. The first one is just to give a verbal warning. And then if they still, it says give them space, but what that means is I like to remove them from the situation. If they're not making good choices in a situation, like I will literally take a kid in Sunday school and be like, hey, you're gonna sit right over there. And just that isolation alone says something to them. It doesn't necessarily say you're a bad person, but it says this behavior is not acceptable for this group activity. And the last one is talk to us. We used to ask you to talk to mom and dad or write a grace report, but we really felt like the parents really want to hear from us if their children are misbehaving, and we don't want you to deal with a parent that isn't so welcoming for feedback on their child's behavior of the evening. Let us know early on, because we also need to document it, because if after a while this child may just cannot behave the way that we need them to for the group activities that are going on, we might need to have them stay home for a week. We don't love to do that. We need to have it documented. And we need to show mom and dad, like, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this. I mean, and none of that worked. And now we need to really make a statement and let them know this isn't acceptable, so can you just keep them home for 1 week? And we'll just give them that pause, and then they can reset, and we'll talk to them and say, are you ready to come back and behave the way that we need you to? My biggest rule that is not on here is not to yell. I don't enjoy yelling. I do it on occasion to my own kids, but I will not do it to other people's kids. I don't know what they're coming home from home. I don't know what they're carrying in their heart from their day. They're coming here, they've had a day that we don't know about, and if we're yelling at them, we're no different than the world, because that is exactly how the world treats them. So when we talk to them, there's a difference between a stern voice and a yelling voice, and a yelling voice is scary. And the other thing I did forget to mention is that little kids wiggle. And if we tell them not to wiggle, if they're poking each other, or if they're laying down on the benches, as they do, that's great. Ask them to stop doing that. But they're gonna move their bodies. That's how they think sometimes. And I'm okay with that. I can work with that. That doesn't distract me on stage, and it doesn't distract Amber. But if you tell them not to do that, they are no longer listening. They are now focused on controlling their body. And so it is more distracting for them not to move than to move. So that's fine with me if they need to move their body. My kids are wigglers. They love to sit on that wiggle seat that school provides. Joy's teacher was so kind to let her chew gum in class last year to help her manage her anxiety. So those things I think are creative solutions, and if you come up with a creative solution that's helping somebody that's really having a hard time in your group, I fully support you. Just let me know so that I'm not like, why is that kid doing that? And you're like, well, they need the beanbag. Or if you have somebody who's fidgety and maybe they need a fidget spinner or one of those little, what are those things called? Those little clicky boxes? I don't know, Hope loves them. Fidget toys. Fidget toys, yeah, they need a fidget toy, we have fidget toys, that's fine. We can provide some fidget toys if they're just somebody that just needs to